El Charco del Ingenio Botanical Gardens is a nature preserve dedicated to the conservation, appreciation, and enjoyment of natural resources. Throughout the preserve, the visitor can see plants native to Mexican semi-arid lands, including a world-class collection of cacti and succulents. But El Charco is more than just a botanical garden. It is also an area of great beauty and historical significance.
This place here is the very bottom of the canyon of El Charco del Ingenio. The name comes from this pond, which is behind me. It would mean sort of the pond of the devil, or the devil's pond. But it's not really the devil, it's more a sort of spirit of the caves, a spirit of the springs, the spirit of the water, which comes from the very times of the conquest, or even before. This place was a ritual place, and mainly because it has a spring in one of the sides of the pond. There's a spring of one of the few springs, if not the last spring of San Miguel, is here in the Charco del Ingenio. So the name of the whole project, the name of the botanical garden, comes from this very beautiful pond. This is really the place where the water flows through the canyon. And this is what we call and we consider in San Miguel a natural monument. The cliffs, the waterfalls, the ponds, and the flora and fauna that exists here. The main mission of this conservation project is to take care of this canyon, to take care of this historical pond, and to take care of the whole natural monument, so it can be conserved and can be open to the people from San Miguel, opening a new space for San Miguel for tourism, for recreation, and especially for conservation.
This conservation ideal became real when a group of people from San Miguel joined together to purchase the land to protect it from the rapid, unplanned expansion occurring in the city. For many people, El Charco is the finest jewel in the crown of the colonial town of San Miguel. An important focus of this effort is studying the birds that visit El Charco.
The state of Guanajuato is approximately 273 species of birds. Some residents, some winter migrants. El Charco represents a form of refuge to migratory waterfowl, principally neotropical migratory birds. This body of water is surrounded by 250 acres, and it's basically the only protected habitat in San Miguel, and for neotropical migratory birds coming down the northern fly route, coming down the central mesa of Mexico. This is one of the first areas where they find water after crossing the Rio Grande, and we try to make our impact minimal. And as you can see with these islands, we were just trying to create something that we felt would attract birds, principally. We think the results have been quite successful. I mean, number one, the foliage growing on the islands provides habitat, provides protection. This is the first year where we've had a chance to observe how the migrants are reacting to the new habitats.
This is all silt and sediment that's accumulated over the years and has gradually been filling up this reservoir. 7 years ago we had the idea to increase the water volume and dig out some of the sediment and create islands, or habitats rather. And last year we brought in a couple of backhoes and began digging. Using the islands as wind barriers, we've seen several species of shorebirds, American avocets and long-billed dowitchers, black-necked stilt, that will feed or dabble along the sides of the islands. What we're looking for now is evidence of nests, and we may or may not find anything, but to find a nest would mean that the birds were actually using this as a nesting habitat, which is something quite beautiful.
Since this video was shot, baby ducks of several species have in fact been born on the newly built islands, including mallard, ruddy duck, and American coot. But the main focus at El Charco is its increasing plant collection.
The collection was built up over a period of about 8 years by the late Charlie Glass, who was a very well-known cactophile, who came down here to Mexico. And working with a group of Mexican lads, they went to various parts of Mexico to collect these plants with a view to propagation for conservation reasons. We can use grafting techniques to propagate the plants vegetatively, particularly for the rare plants of which we have very little material, say perhaps one individual, where it's impossible to obtain seed because that species is self-sterile. Normally in the habitat this plant would be one head like this, with the roots growing in the ground, just as a single solitary head. But by grafting, it increases the growth rate and the vigour of the plant, and it tends to produce kind of like, in Spanish they're called hijuelos, or babies you might call them in English. So basically the technique is pretty simple. Here we have another stock plant of the same species, and all you have to do is remove the top, throw that away, take off the edges of the ribs to create a nice platform to graft on. Then again, I'll cut another thin slice off just to keep the grafting surface moist while I prepare the scion, which in this case will be very quick and easy. There we go, that comes off. Remove the slice, place the scion on top, hold it, applying some pressure to make sure that no air bubble is trapped between the two parts of the plant. And then very simply, with an elastic band, and over the top of the plant, to secure it in position. It's actually better to use 2 bands crosswise to apply more pressure, and just in case one of the bands breaks while the plant is uniting. And then we would put this in a shady spot for approximately a week. Keep the plant that we use as the stock well watered. And after approximately a week, remove the elastic bands, and the two plants are united.
Martin also oversees the botanical gardens, where a wide variety of regional plants is on display. El Charco del Ingenio is a non-profit civil association dedicated to preserving this natural monument. Through your donations, it will stay open for present and future generations, while educating people both from abroad and within Mexico on environmental issues.